Hello Beetle people, Craig here. Wanted to do an update with my collection that I just got. I got some really good nifty things. Do you want to mention? I got a lot of things to fill in the cracks of my collection and kind of just show you a couple of the things that I acquired and a Grail at the end, which is really cool. But first, I was watching a video by Andy Hall and commenting on it, and I wanted to show him the first pressing of Meet the Beatles. So this is actually the first pressing of this album. As you can see, it has the tan, kind of a dark tannish Meet the Beatles here. It's in stereo, but the thing to kind of take, this is the back of course, but the thing to kind of look for is to make sure, first of all, there's no producer credit, but second of all, is to make sure, see that number 3 there? Hopefully my camera can focus. That is from the Scranton plant. So that is actually where the first pressings came from. So that's what you were going to want to see on the first. They only made 20,000 monos, more or less, and 2,000 stereos, more or less. So this was the first pressing. So as we all know, they tried to rush the album because the Beatles were coming and performing on the Ed Sullivan, so they wanted to get the album out to the public. So they didn't have the credits on. They didn't know what the songs were credited to, so they left them off. You can see that. So it says, like, for example, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and then it says the time, 2:24, but it doesn't say like BMI or the ASCAP. So these are the first pressings of the album where they don't have the credits. Let me show you the second side. We can focus. There it goes. So those are the ones you want to see. And here is the innard. It's the first innard that actually came with the album. It's a dark royal blue. So this is really good. It's only got a little bit of a problem like right here in the corner, but it's really good otherwise condition itself. So next, I definitely wanted to, or let's get that out of the way, you can see that instead. I definitely wanted to do kind of some updates and some fill in the cracks kind of singles. So first one is She Loves You. So let me go ahead. I'm going to zoom in on the picture so you can see a little bit, get that focus for you. And then I'm just going to show you a couple. I have a whole bunch of singles that I want to show you from Capitol and of course here Swan. But I just want to show you a couple of the record labels is all. So here's the first one, Swan. This one actually has Don't Drop Out on it. And I actually have 2 copies, which is kind of cool. Oh, well, let me show you the She Loves You side. Here's the She Loves You. Someone drilled holes in here for some reason. But that one doesn't have the Don't Drop Out. Kind of a lot of different versions of this single to have. Next one, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Kind of a nice pressing. This is the West Coast pressing because they cropped off George's head. They kind of zoomed in on the picture on the West Coast. And here is the single, Want to Hold Your Hand. And then we're going to start here. Here's a hard. These are all West Coast, and the way you can tell it's a West Coast is, if you can notice, see how there's a little tab right here? That's a West Coast version. And usually they're a little bit valued more than the East Coast for some reason in Perry Cox's books. I'm not sure why. Maybe they just made less of them, but they are. This is the West Coast version of A Hard Day's Night. So far all these, the 2 Capitol have been West Coast. Here is Yesterday, Act Naturally. Here is, this one's kind of chewed up, but I only got it for pennies, really. 8 days a week. Here's we can work it out. And I wanted to show you this. See, it's a little bit easier to see. There's the tab. So if it was an East Coast, it'd be straight across, but the tab right here is indicating that it's a West Coast pressing. So, Nowhere Man, What Goes On. Hello, Goodbye, I Am the Walrus. I showed the British version of this in one of my last videos, but here's Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields. It's got a cool looking back as well. Shows the baby pictures. And the last one of these is Ballad of John and Yoko. And here is someone, this is on the Apple label. Someone really liked this song, so the other side. Pretty cool. And let's reveal the big Grail this time. Very, very desirable to get. It's the rarest Capitol single that you can find, which is Can't Buy Me Love, You Can't Do That. So it looks just like the I Wanna Hold Your Hand, but just with Can't Buy Me Love on it. This single, the sleeve itself is what's worth the most here. It's because they didn't release it on the West Coast. This is only an East Coast variant. So, and it was made in less quantities. So trying to find one is very, very hard to do it, especially in good condition. And what's cool, let me show you this. Let's do comparison time. Here's I Wanna Hold Your Hand. And here's the Can't Buy Me Love. So once we focus that, there we go. So as you can tell, as I was saying before, see they cropped off in the West Coast versions. Now I know this is Can't Buy Me Love, but this is basically the East Coast version of I Wanna Hold Your Hand, the same picture. So what they did was they zoomed in a little bit and they cropped off George's head right there. But yeah, that is my update. Hope you enjoyed it. That's the big Grail. If you have any questions, you can comment, and hopefully you subscribe, and I'll just catch you on the next time.